Welcome to Crush House Cappers. I'm your host, Wayne Allyn Root, the CEO of VegasWinners.com, and the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. I'm the only sports handicapper in the world with a 180-pound granite star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. And now I'm bringing my Vegas wise guy connections and Vegas insider knowledge to you. This is the show for all sports gamblers, every type, male, female, high roller, beginner, $10 better, $10,000 better. We're here to empower anyone and everyone that loves the single most important part of betting, winning. At Crush House Cappers and our sponsor website, VegasWinners.com, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world-famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple, it's easy, it takes 1 minute or less, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. And you also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. Each week here on Crush House Cappers, I bring to you the leading experts in sports handicapping, all of them part of my Vegas Winners team of 21 elite sports handicapping champions. Joining me today with their point spread wisdom and insights, Chip Chirimbes, a Las Vegas handicapping legend with a stellar reputation for picking winners for over 30 years, and Kyle Hunter, one of the best sports handicappers in America. Hunter is 26-6 over the past 30 days in college football, winning at a rate of around 80%. Hello, Kyle and Chip. Great to have you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about the records coming in to today's Crush House Cappers podcast. First of all, Chip Chirimbes, you were 5-0 with NFL best bets until the Steelers let you down this past week. But more importantly, you've won 4 straight college games of the year or games of the month.
Right.
And so you're hot as a pistol coming in.
Yeah, we had Cincinnati last week over Notre Dame, and you and I have already discussed it. Really love the menu this week and looking for another big Fab 5. Expect to go at least 4-1 and win the big best bet once again.
I got to tell you one of the funniest stories you'll ever hear about sports handicapping. So they don't have a schedule anymore. You know, the world has changed. Nobody prints a book with a schedule. Right. You have to go online and print it out. So I print the schedule out and I staple it. And it's 20 pages of college games. And I go over the games last week with my great friend Chip Chirimbes. And we each talk about how we think about each game. And when we're done, he says he loves Cincinnati. And I said, I didn't even notice that game. He says, Cincinnati gets Notre Dame? I said, I didn't even notice it. I hang up the phone and I look and I've stapled it where that game is. The staple is covering the game. I never even saw the game. So now I say, now I got to investigate what Chip's talking about. And I decided to give it as my second biggest game on the entire college board. I won my big game and then I won my second game, Cincinnati. Without you mentioning it, it would have been hidden where the staple folded and I never saw the game. So thank you, Chip Chirimbes, for educating me on that one.
Well, you know, Wayne, over the years, we've helped each other out a lot because we do discuss these games and what we see individually. And sometimes we come from different angles and we see different games for different reasons. And sometimes we see the same game for the same reason. But I value your opinion as well.
Thank you, Chipper. Now off to Kyle. Kyle Hunter, I'm 23-8 to start the NFL season, which I thought, is just lights out. Nobody in the country can beat it. Out of 21 handicappers on our site, I'm number 1 by a country mile. And then I hear about your record in college football. You are 26-7, 79% in college football. This is why we have this great menu or lineup or team, whatever word you want to use, of 21 great handicappers, a smorgasbord, a Chinese menu. Choose from A, B, or C. We got the best in the world. Chipper, Wayne, and Kyle on the screen, all with amazing winning streaks. Kyle, congratulations. That's one heck of a college record.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Glad to be on here with you guys today, too. It's been a great start to the season here in college football. It's always been one of my specialties. I play a lot of totals. Been very good at totals long term. 24-5 so far this year on totals. So great start to the season and looking forward to keep going.
All right, so Kyle and Chip, let's get to game number 1. We're going to do a college game, a pro game, and then a best bet from both of you. College game is the Red River Rivalry, Oklahoma against Texas. I'm getting married next month, and my beautiful wife-to-be is from Dallas, Texas. Actually, she scolds me and says, I am not from Dallas. I am from Fort Worth. As people out, you land at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. I don't even get that, but okay, she's from Fort Worth. But she loves this rivalry. She loves football, and she's going to be rooting big for the Texas Longhorns, where she went to college. So let's get your opinions on this. Start with Kyle. You're the college football guru at the moment, hottest handicapper in the country in college. Where are you going between Texas, Oklahoma? Oklahoma, a slight favorite, 3.5.
I think it's fair to say Oklahoma is really disappointed so far this year. This is a Oklahoma team that still has a high upside. The Spencer Rattler has not played like we expected him to play so far this year. I still think that he can be very good. Texas has been extremely run heavy so far this year. It's hard to blame them when you have Bijan Robinson in the backfield. They've run the ball in 67% of their plays so far this season, but Oklahoma ranks 13th in yards per carry allowed and 16th in opponent rushing play success rate. This Alex Grinch defense is going to try to make Thompson and the Texas passing attack beat them. I have to say, as an Ohio State fan, I'm a little bit mad that Alex Grinch got away. Still a little bit bitter about that one because now the Buckeyes have a weaker defense. But Oklahoma's defense has gotten a lot better here. Texas, 99th in the country in yards per play allowed at 6.03, an ugly 112th in opponent passing play success rate. Here's Spencer Rattler's chance to get going. Let's see if he can do it. Texas offensively converting on 55% of their third down chances. Look, Texas is good on offense, but they're not going to keep converting on 55% of their third downs. So regression coming there. To me, Oklahoma -3 is the play if I'm taking a side here. Also lean toward the over in this one. It's hard to see either defense shutting down the other one. I think we'll see quite a few explosive plays, but I'm going to side with Oklahoma -3 in this one.
All right, Kyle takes the Sooners and makes my wife to be very angry. You have not won over Cindy. I just want you to know that. Chip Chirimbes, where are you going with the Red River rivalry?
Well, what a great SEC matchup. Or was it Southwest Conference? Or was it the Big 12 matchup? Both these teams are going to be in the Southeast Conference soon enough. But Oklahoma's at 5-0, very disappointing 1-4 against the number. Last year they win 53-45 in overtime. But you know something? I like what Kyle said because what's happening here, even though Texas is dominating the run, Oklahoma's only allowing 83 yards per game on the ground. Their defense is holding teams to 19 points per game. The defense for Texas is only allowing 24. Both offenses have moved the ball, and Rattler, of course, has been a little disappointing. But I think the defense is the key here, and I think the Oklahoma defense and being able to take down a one-dimensional Longhorn team is the way to go. I would lay the 3 points right now without question. I think Oklahoma's the side. Go Sooners.
And it's funny because this is a gambling podcast. So you get a perspective that you don't get in a non-gambling podcast because you said it, Chip. Oklahoma is 5-0, but they're 1-4 against the spread. Yeah. The average casual sports fan or even casual gambler just looks at the 5-0, and they don't notice how disappointing Oklahoma's been if you're putting money on them. How can a 5-0 team burn your money? Check out Oklahoma, burning money like crazy. All right, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas -7. Who would have imagined before the season? You know, see, I love the NFL because I love the way things change. Perception changes. I'll bet you before the season, this game was like Dallas -2, Dallas -3 at the most, maybe even a pick'em game. New York Giants, last year finished ahead of Dallas, almost won the division, and all of a sudden the Cowboys coming out like a Super Bowl contender, great offense and a defense firing off with young players, sacking the quarterback, and Dallas comes up a 7. All of a sudden, everybody's loving Dallas. Everyone bet on them last week against Carolina. They covered. So can they do it again this week? Chip Chirimbes, Dallas minus the points or take the points in a very bitter rivalry?
You know, these two met in Week 5 last year, and this was a game when both superstars went down. Saquon Barkley went down for the Giants, and Dak Prescott went down for the Cowboys. And the rest of the season for the Cowboys, of course, was a horrific experience.
A nightmare.
Yeah, and the Giants weren't all that much better. They won, I think, 3 of the last 4 games to come into contention. But, this Dallas offense right now looks like a juggernaut to me, and their defense has improved so much by creating turnovers, which they didn't do last year.
Right.
And, when I hear the name Diggs, I'm thinking of a receiver for the Buffalo Bills, but now he's a receiver on the defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's leading the NFL in interceptions.
Yes, he is.
And Prescott has been the difference without a doubt. Dallas is averaging 421 yards a game. 165 yards on the ground. So Ezekiel Elliott is back as well. And, you have that balance in the NFL, and with Prescott's mobility, I see Dallas putting up enough points. This Giant defense has been a bit of a hoax this year. They built last year their reputation on a great defense. This year, Wayne, they're 30th in sacks. And I want to check this out. They're 21st overall in defensive yardage. The over between these two teams has gone 4-1 in the last 5, 9-3 in the last 12 at Dallas. I think this game goes over the total, the Giants and the Cowboys.
All right. We've got thoughts from Kyle Hunter, who's been the hottest college handicapper in the country, 26-7, 79% in college. Are you pretty good in the NFL too, Kyle?
Yeah, 9-5 start in the NFL as well. So come off a winner with the Rams last night. Wayne, I believe you had the Rams as well, right?
I did.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Very rare for me, by the way. I never go with the public. The public was betting 80% on the Rams. The public is almost always wrong when they're 80% on one side, but I'm just a believer. I'm a believer that this Rams team is headed to the Super Bowl, and I'm a believer that after an embarrassing loss last week, that their young head coach would never allow them not to come out prepared. So I went against everything I ever do, and I took the Rams, and I got a win out of it. So good stuff. But, Kyle, where do you go with the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, so I'm going to go the same way Chip did in this one. I like the over here. I'll tell you why. I think that the Dallas defense is clearly improved, no doubt about that. And Trayvon Diggs, 5 interceptions in 4 games. That's one of the most impressive individual stats I've seen in a really long time.
And by the way, Chip mentioned Trayvon Diggs. You do know they're brothers, right? Stephon and Trevon are brothers. So the wide receiver for Buffalo is the brother of the cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't know if you knew that. But that is one talented family. Oh, my gosh. Wow. I'd like to see mom and dad. Oh, my gosh. What athletes they must have come from. Woo.
Oh, man, yeah. Now they're proud mom and dad for sure, I'm sure. This is a Dallas defense that is still giving up 6.4 yards per play, though. Bend but don't break to some degree. The Chargers did have 6.6 yards per play on the Cowboys and scored 17 points. They kind of got in their own way. There were a lot of flags on touchdowns called back. The Giants are 8th in the NFL, averaging 6.2 yards per play on offense, and they have been terrible in the red zone. 33.3% of their trips into the red zone have been touchdowns. I mean, positive regression likely coming there. You can't be that bad in the red zone. Who's going to stop this Dallas offense, though, guys? I mean, Dallas is averaging 31.5 points per game, and they've played some pretty good defenses. It's not like they've been beating up on the weakest of defenses. The Cowboys, a top 2 offense? Maybe the Chiefs, a better offense. At this point, Dallas absolutely stacked on offense. I think the Giants are the worst defense that Dallas has gone against yet. We're playing in a dome, fast track. I think Dallas puts up a lot of points here, and I like the over in this one.
And funny enough, Kyle, you mentioned that Dallas has played teams that are not cupcakes with good defenses while they're piling up 30-plus points a game. I'll tell you what, last week, this is why I like watching games. As a handicapper, you don't have to watch them. You pick them. You could go out to dinner, come home, and see what the result is. I like to watch them because you see things. And I'll tell you what, I've never before been more impressed by a team I bet against. I made a big bet last week on the Dallas Cowboys. But I think Carolina's defense is the hardest hitting defense I've ever seen. They remind me of Dick Butkus. They were trying to knock the ball out on every play, and they got helped by a few bad calls by the referees because they made Dallas fumble on one play, and I believe it was a fumble, but they called it no. They said positive forward motion, and it wasn't counted. Then they knocked the ball out on the next play. Then they knocked the ball out on the next play. This is an incredible hard-hitting defense, and I'll be remembering that for the rest of the season. There will be spots where I will take Carolina as an underdog with that kind of defense. How about your best bets for this week on the podcast? Chip Chirimbes.
Wayne, I wish this game wasn't starting at noon Eastern. I'm looking at this Rutgers-Michigan State game. Michigan State's undefeated. I saw them beat a weak Miami team down here, and I'll tell you, I wasn't all that impressed. Rutgers got annihilated by Ohio State last week. And that's fine. They had covered every game previous to that. Now they're coming back second straight week at home, and I think Shiano's going to have this team ready to play. Michigan State has not beat a team with a winning record. And, last week, when they beat Nebraska, Nebraska outgained them by 186 yards, and still Michigan State prevailed and won. Good teams do that. They're much better this year than they have been in the past. But the other key factor is they played Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky rolled up 560 yards on offense against this team, this Michigan State team. I think this game I think Rutgers has a good chance to win this game outright, particularly, Wayne, when you look at the fact that Michigan State is 5-15-1 against the number in Big Ten, the last 16 Big Ten conference games. So I'm going to take Rutgers here, and I'll tell you, if the game was later in the day, I would consider using it on top for the entire service. But it's starting so early, going to give it right here on the show. So get down early on this one, because I think Rutgers has a good chance to win this game on the money line as well.
You know, as a West Coast guy, I hate early games because they start at 9 o'clock here. Yeah. And I like to spend my mornings working on my NFL plays for Sunday. And so all of a sudden you got a game to worry about. And I just generally stay away from those 9 a.m. starts, which for you in Florida, Chip, is a 12 noon start. Kyle Hunt, so Mark Chipper down for Rutgers Scarlet Knights as his best bet on the podcast. Kyle Hunter, where are you going with the best bet?
So I have to stay on brand and take a college total here. I always go for a lot of these under the radar college totals, and that's where I've made my hay in the past. Old Dominion, Marshall over the total here. We got over 63.5. As a college football total's better, the first thing I look at is tempo stats. Old Dominion's 25th in overall tempo out of 130 teams in the country. Marshall is second out of 130 teams. Marshall playing really fast under their new head coach this year. Twice, Marshall has had big leads in the fourth quarter this year and continued to play quickly and throw the ball. They even ran up the score against Navy. If you're willing to run up the score against a team like Navy, then you're probably willing to run it up against anybody. Old Dominion gave up 42 points against Wake Forest, 45 against Liberty. The Marshall offense is far ahead of these two teams in yards per play, and they play much faster as well. I think Marshall puts up a big number in this one, and Marshall's defense isn't nearly as good as they've been in recent seasons. They've already allowed 24 plays of 20 yards or more so far this season. Both teams like to throw the ball and play quickly. I think that I'm on the over in this one. I think this will be a high-scoring game that's fast-paced.
You know, I hope everyone at home understands what I'm understanding, man. We got smart guys on this show. You guys really have some great stats and under-the-radar thinking and strategies, and I really appreciate both of you so very much. Very smart guys. Chip and Kyle, great stuff. Your offer this week, Chip, for everybody who wants to go over to VegasWinners.com.
Well, Wayne, like I've said, I've won 4 straight Saturdays with my top plays. Cincinnati last week was the highlight, and I have another big one this Saturday. And on Sunday, we were undefeated on the season with our best bets until last Sunday. So we're 5-1 now in the NFL, have hit 4 straight in college. So look for that big game, that 8-play megabuck winner. That's how I label it on the site. Last week, Cincinnati, a big-time winner, and we're looking for more this weekend.
All right, Chip Chirimbes, big weekend ahead, and by the way, I still refer to Cincinnati. I'll always refer to it as my staple game. It was hidden by the staple. It's like Playboy centerfold. Right there is the staple. All right, Kyle Hunter, tell me about your very special offer at Vegas Winners right now.
Yeah, 26-7 so far this year in college football, 24-5 on the college football totals. Head over to VegasWinners.com. You'll find my Auburn, Georgia total domination selection and my Big Ten totals takedown selection as well. Those totals have done really well long term, 57.5% all time, dating back to 2009 in over 1,000 games on those totals. So looking to put some more winners on the board there at Vegas Winners this weekend.
All right, and of course I've got mine to promote and let everybody know about. 22-8 after 4 weeks in the NFL, and then I won on Thursday night. So every play that I've given out, that's every play I've got, 23-8, 74% winners in the NFL. 4 straight winning weeks in the NFL. Because I won Thursday night with the LA Rams over Seattle, I'm now 12-1 on Thursday night football, Monday night football, and Sunday night football. 12-1. The past 4 weeks, I've given 4 games of the year. 4-0, 100% winners. My famous pinnacles, 6-2, 75% winners. And because I'm honest, even though I had a winning week, I had a losing Sunday. I went 2-3, even though I had the Patriots on Sunday night with a giant play. I still lost for the day, which means going back to last year, last November, since November of 2020, I've won 13 of the last 15 NFL Sundays. I don't count the whole week in that stat. It's not Thursday night. It's not Monday night. Just my Sunday record has won 13 out of 15 NFL Sundays. That's 86% winning NFL Sundays. Another game of the year this week. Go to VegasWinners.com. By the way, Chip's big play, my big play, Kyle's big play. You get $1,000 in free coupons that you apply to those plays. So go check it out right now at VegasWinners.com. Boys, thanks for hanging out with us today. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Chip.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
All right, Sean Salisbury back with the War Man, Wayne Allyn Root. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing good. Good to be with you.
Always great. We have some great interaction, so let's do it. Is there a great NFL team out there right now at this moment?
I don't think so. I think we got a bunch of good ones, and I think we got a bunch of have-nots as well. I mean, and you've seen it. One week a team looks great, the Rams. The next week they go into they get their butt beat by Arizona, and then they go into Seattle, as we saw last night. And then there's Arizona, the only undefeated team. But I don't look at them as a great team because I still wouldn't put them as the favorites, Wayne,
right,
to be in the Super Bowl in the NFC yet.
Right.
I like the way Kyler Murray's playing. So, no, I don't believe we have a great team. A handful of good ones, but we're in a time with 6, 8, 10 teams. Even the Kansas City Chiefs can still win it with that defense. No great teams in the NFL right now.
And by the way, I don't even look, you said Arizona, you don't look at them as a favorite for the Super Bowl. I don't look at them as a favorite for their division. I believe the Rams are the favorite in that division, and I believe the Rams are the favorite for the Super Bowl. You're a witness. I said that from day one before the season started. I'm a huge Stafford fan. You take the same guy out of a losing team, Detroit, put him on a winning team with a great defense, and boom, you've got a great combination. So, yeah, they got blown out last week by Arizona, and then they came back Thursday night, and I had them against Seattle. The entire world was betting on the Rams, by the way. I'm always opposite the world. So when everybody bets on the Rams, I should have been on Seattle on Thursday night, but I took the Rams with everybody else because I believe this is a team of destiny. And the way they lost last week, I thought they'd come back with show their pride and win big. And sure enough, great performance on Thursday night. So, no, I don't see a great team either, but I got news for you. I know I'm prejudiced. You know what I'm going to say, my Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas has the potential by next year. I can't say Super Bowl this year, but by next year, that defense, it may be better than the offense. They're smothering. That defensive line is smothering. The linebackers are amazing. They threw away Jalen Smith. They released him this week. He was their superstar. They gave him, $60 million? They threw him away. They don't even need him. They don't even need him. And the defensive backfield keeps getting interceptions and turnovers. I think this is a young, hungry defense with Dan Quinn and maybe the best offense in football. This team, by the end of the year, could be a Super Bowl team. By next year, they will be a Super Bowl team and a great team.
Yeah, and their offense, when we say there may not be great teams, but they've got the potential offensively to be, and they already are special when they run it. And Prescott, I don't know how anybody keeps ranking him below a top 5, 6 quarterback in this league. Right. I don't. Defensively, Dan Quinn's made a difference, and Micah Parsons is off the charts, and Diggs is around the ball all the time in the secondary. I'm with you. With the NFC, hell, they get on a run. They can win a Super Bowl this year as long as they continue on the ascent. That's why with no good teams, there's 4 or 5 teams that can win it in both conferences.
All right. Do you believe in firing a coach in mid-season, and who might the candidates be? Who, if you did fire a coach?
For me, it's not the wins and losses that would cause you to fire a guy during the middle of a season or early in the season. And here's why. After a first season, yeah, we've seen it happen before. Steve Wilkes, most recently in Arizona, for Cliff Kingsbury. If you've lost respect, trust, culture problems, all those things that may even be outside the X's and O's and the wins and losses, is a time when that I would consider during the season. But when it comes to trying to find it wins and losses, I don't think it serves any purpose during the season if you're still playing hard and your players are trying and you just don't have the personnel, because the interim coach is going to get fired anyway. Rarely, if ever. It's only happened a handful of times where that interim coach keeps the job at the end of the year. So basically you will have had 3 coaches in a matter of a handful of months. I don't usually subscribe to it unless they're looking at you and your players do not respect you and you've lost in the locker room and in the building, not just on the field. That's the time I would consider it, but it's rare.
All right, so that leads us, what a segue, into Urban Meyer. Has Urban Meyer lost all respect in the building? I find it kind of weird. You know, what he did hanging out with some hot blonde at a bar is between him and his wife, And if she wants to divorce him, that's her issue. It has nothing to do with your ability as a coach. Zero. Anymore, it's the same reason I love Pete Rose for the Hall of Fame. I don't think what he did was necessarily good, but Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame based on performance. Based on performance, Urban Meyer is one of the 3 best college coaches in the history of college football. And now he's an NFL coach. It's only 4 games into the season. It's early. Give him 3 years. He'll make the Jaguars a Super Bowl contender. So does it matter if he happens to cheat on his wife and chase women in a bar? Does it matter? I don't know. I'm asking you.
Well, I think the sponsors, and Wayne, we're in a time, as you know, the optics of things and with cameras and with sensitivity and all this, at a time, whether we like it or not, it exists, and it does, and it's not going away. And the one thing about a public figure like Urban Meyer, if it happened to one of his players, that player would catch hell coming into the building. He just would, because he'd say it's irresponsible. We got to gain trust. You got to be smarter than that. All those things you preach. Now, I understand if a guy wants to go have a drink in a bar, I get that. The problem is the optics. He broke a moral law. He didn't break a regular law, and that's for his wife. But he also has an owner that said it was inexcusable. He had, his teammates are laughing at him, the players he's coaching. So now comes a problem. I'm with you. Sometimes it's like, what are we doing here? But this is the society we live in. And when you got a wife and you're supposed to be held to a higher standard and in the building, and Wayne, you also know this, if they were 4-0, some may look at this different. The problem is they're getting their ass kicked on the field. He stayed behind when a plane was supposed to fly out with the team and decided to give people a break, and he goes into a bar. Had he just had a beer, probably would, or a drink, I don't think, but when a female's involved and with the sensitivity, I think it becomes a problem. And here's the problem. When you lose the trust of an owner, it's really easy to lose trust. It's really, really, really hard to gain it back, especially if you're on a losing team. Urban Meyer's got a hill to climb. It was a stupid decision, especially in this landscape we're in. But is it a fireable offense? That's for Shad Khan to decide, his owner. But it wasn't. It's bad optics, but they got a lot to do because he can coach football, but this is the NFL, not college.
All right, but here's my counterpoint. Did you ever watch North Dallas 40, the movie?
Yeah, but I'm with you, Wayne, but that's back in the 70s.
Players
we don't do that anymore. Things change.
You don't believe players are out every night at strip clubs? Okay,
well, let me ask, do I believe players are out every night? All of them? No, I don't believe that. I played with some are. I believe some do, yes. I believe some are out and doing it all. We see it in the NBA and the NFL. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. North Dallas 40 didn't have cell phone service. And I get it. So it's a battle back and forth. But the problem is, I know that people do it, but you can't. Okay, let me ask, if Tom Brady did it, Bill Belichick did it, we'd say, oh my, it's just, I get guys trying to loosen up and do it. The problem is Urban Meyer's not single, so the perception, it's like Tiger Woods. People felt like Tiger Woods owed them an apology when he cheated on his wife. Well, he didn't owe me an apology. He didn't owe the guy next door an apology. His family and his sponsors and the people he represented. So I'm not the moral high. Listen, you open a closet, most people have a skeleton that falls out. But the optics of it for the head coach, especially a first-time head coach, Wayne, I'm with you. North Dallas 40, A Longest Yard, all those movies. But this isn't 1970 anymore. Whether we like it or not, we are in 2021, and Urban Meyer's got to be smarter, because whether we like it or not, it happened, and people can't wait for stuff like that to happen, and especially when they're losing. Yeah, you just got to be smarter, because he would expect it from his players, I guarantee it.
I can tell you for a fact that in Las Vegas, every team that comes in to play the Raiders and the Golden Knights spends the night before at strip clubs. I can tell you right now. All the girls are making more money than they've ever made in their lives. So all these guys are hypocrites. Any player that is going to look at a coach and cast a stone, and any owner that would look at a coach and cast a stone. These guys are billionaires. You don't think they're all cheating on their wives? Come on.
I would hope not, but that I don't know. But I know this. I would say, saying always and never for us, and you're right, always and never in sports and in society doesn't exist. Those are two words we should never use.
All right, just good counterpoint. And by the way, now I'll take your side, because I'm taking both sides. Now I'll take your side. If Urban Meyer is in the locker room preaching, don't do bad things, don't embarrass the team, don't ever be seen, grabbing a girl's body, and then he grabs a girl's body, then that's a hypocrisy thing. So that's a whole different thing. I don't know what he preached in the locker room.
Okay, here's what
I'm not
I
there.
do know this. I do know this. He even said this part. He said when Trevor Lawrence decided to go to Las Vegas for his bachelor party, he talked to him, was afraid. He told him, be careful what you do. There's people out there. He preached that to him in the last handful of months and then turned. Listen, it was a dumb, sophomoric, and like I said, he doesn't have to answer to me. He's got an owner that signs checks and a wife and family at home that he's going to have to deal with. But I understand the sensitivity of society, and I do understand your point. I'd like to think that it's not always or never for him, but Urban Meyer has put himself in a bad position, and now he's going to have to work twice as hard to gain trust and respect back. And quite frankly, if the players are laughing at him, then he probably should, because the camera saw it, and we're in a society now when they see it, you got to respond to it.
All right, big game on Sunday night of last week. It was the Patriots and Tom Brady up against Belichick, his old coach, his old team, his old Boston, the whole New England mystique. And I had the New England Patriots plus the points, and I covered, but Tom Brady did win the game. By the way, I will point out, Brady's stats were not good. His rookie, counterpart outplayed him. The Patriots rookie outplayed Tom Brady, if you look at the stat sheet. So what did we learn Sunday night?
We learned more about the Patriots, I think. I already know who Tampa is. I know they're going to be hanging around come NFC, the NFC playoffs with a chance to get to the NFC title game and a chance to get to the Super Bowl. They're loaded, and they're going to continue to get better as the season goes on. That's just them. That's who they are. I learned a lot about New England and Mac Jones because he stole the show. The show, it's one of the second highest rated Sunday night football of all time, I think. It was all Brady versus Belichick. But Bill had a good plan for him defensively, and I thought Mac Jones, 19 straight completions, showed signs of why not only New England drafted him, but what you're going to get in the future. He stole the show. We learned more about the Patriots. Even though they lost, something to build on at quarterback right now. Mac Jones is the best rookie quarterback in the league. And for Tampa, they won. They knew how to win ugly, and there will be a team that's hovering around 12 or 13 wins. I found out more about the Patriots and Mac Jones and that game plan than I did about Tampa Bay.
And by the way, forget about ratings. That was the most bet regular season game in the history of football.
Unbelievable.
Other than a Super Bowl or a major championship game, nothing's ever been bet more than that game. And that's why, I've started the season 23-8, Sean. 23-8. Every play I give is independently monitored and documented. I send it in to an independent documentation service, has to be there before the game, and then they publish it after the game starts. And nobody could ever play games. And I'm 23-8, 74% winners. But I still was scared over that game because one loss can really devastate your resume.
Right.
I could be 23-8, but lose the most bet game in history, and people hate you. That's the tough business that I'm in. You think you're in a tough business. You think football's a tough business. So I had New England, and it scared the hell out of me whether Mac Jones could outplay Tom Brady. But I took my shot.
Great job by you. Because actually, in that game, Wayne, I would have, after the week before getting beat by the Rams, I would have bet a lot, and I actually chose the Patriots in the game. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the game because I thought there's no way that Tom lets this stay close. And Belichick, genius, and Mac Jones played out of his mind. You're right, he stole the show. That's why you're smarter than me at that. And so congratulations on an unbelievable start to your NFL season.
Only gambling am I smarter than you, not X's and O's. The reality is that Tom Brady did still find a way to win the game, and he beat Belichick, right? So all is well in Tampa world and Brady world. All right, last but not least, guarantee of the week. Every week you make one. Sean Salisbury, guarantee of the week.
Tennessee Titans over Jacksonville. I know their two receivers are out. Derrick Henry should touch the ball about 50 times. Mike Vrabel, if Mike Vrabel, the head coach of Tennessee, allows this to happen against a Jacksonville team that's reeling, trust factor, they're not good, allows this, I think it's 4 or 4.5 right now. My guarantee of the week sits with the Tennessee Titans. I can't fathom them being at 2-3 and losing to Jacksonville after all that's gone on. I don't think this is a rallying cry for Jacksonville, what's going on. Jacksonville's not good. Tennessee beats them by more than a touchdown.
And, normally I'd be opposite you. I'd be on Jacksonville because I'm the, don't make sense kid. They used to call me a contrarian. I do whatever doesn't make sense against the point spread. And if everyone takes Tennessee, I'll take Jacksonville. But I'm also someone who believes when there's confusion and chaos around a team and disappointment, then the team doesn't do well that week. The next week they might be fine, but the week of the chaos and confusion, they don't do well. And one thing about Urban Meyer, even though I defended him a bit, the reality is the team is not in a good head right now, not in a good place. So I personally, I would just stay away from the game. That's the way I feel about it. All right, another great segment. Let me tell you where I'm at so people know to go to VegasWinners.com, where we have $1,000 of free coupons waiting for you to apply to my big winners. I've got another game of the year this week that reached that level, Wayne Root Game of the Year. Here's the deal. Started the NFL, all independently monitored and documented, 4 weeks, 22-8, and then one on Thursday night this week. So I'm 23-8, 74% winners, 4 straight winning weeks to start the season, 12-1 on Thursdays, Sunday nights, and Monday nights. 12-1 with the signature game on national TV. In the last 4 weeks, I've had 4 games that rose to the level of Game of the Year, and I'm 4-0 with those 4 games of the year. My top-rated pinnacle play, 6-2, 75% winners, and I counted Sunday as a losing day. This is how fair I am. I had a winning week. I won on Thursday, I won on Monday, but I went 2-3 on Sunday, even though I won that giant play on New England. I'm counting that as a losing day. That means I've only won 13 of the last 15 NFL Sundays. 13 out of 15, that's 86% winning Sundays, and I've got another game of the year waiting right now at VegasWinners.com. Sean, great to be with you every week, my man.
Awesome to be with you, and I will be tuned into your picks because you know what? I'm not dumb. I may be stupid, but I'm not dumb, brother. I got you. Keep it up.
All right, Sean. God bless.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Crush House today. I want you to remember you can sign up right now to become a part of the Crush House gang and unlock all my winning picks, along with 21 other handicappers, only at VegasWinners.com. Go to Vegas Winners right after this podcast ends for one of my world-famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes 1 minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. You also get 5,000 rewards points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. What else is waiting for you at Vegas Winners? Check out all our entertaining and informative Crush House podcasts. Enter to win fabulous prizes, including trips to Vegas, Sin City, to join me and the Crush House gang to watch a game, break some bread, and experience Vegas like few ever will. And most importantly, it's all about my favorite thing, winning. Winning big. And of course, there's the point spread winners. We've got free winners every day, plus best bets from our team of 21 handicapping champions, the greatest lineup ever assembled. All you have to do is take 1 minute to register. Just go to VegasWinners.com right now. Follow the prompts to register, and you automatically get the picks, the wisdom, the analysis, the winning point spread advice, plus rewards points for every single click. It's all there. A big thank you to Chip and Kyle for dropping in with their amazing betting wisdom. If you like what you saw or heard, come back and tune into Crush House Cappers every week, only on the Crush House Network, which includes Crush House and Crush House Legends podcasts. Thanks for stopping in. Another episode of Crush House Cappers is in the book. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Until next time, just beat the point spread, baby.